Like the absolute nerd that I am, I was perusing the Library of Congress's website, and I came across a very interesting article about a photograph that was taken during the Civil War.
What if a single Civil War photograph could rewrite everything we thought we knew about America's darkest days? Hidden away in an attic for over a century, this rare image stunned historians, not just for its inexplicable color, but for the shadowy figure standing beside Abraham Lincoln. Who was this man erased from every record, and why was he never meant to be seen? The photograph's discovery sparked a series of shocking revelations.
The Union soldiers on the other side until more Union soldiers showed up behind them, and the slaughter over here was just terrible. And if you look behind you here, you can see one of the famous photos.
From advanced 19th century photographic techniques to a covert network operating in Lincoln's inner circle. The discovery in the attic. In a dusty attic untouched for decades, Claire Donovan stumbled upon what seemed like a forgotten family relic. A trunk secured with worn leather straps and a brass latch barely holding together. Amid the usual antique odds and ends, her fingers brushed something firmer. An old leather photo album with pages curling like dry leaves. Inside were mostly typical black and white portraits, stiff and blank. A glimpse into late 1800s America. But near the back, concealed in wax paper, lay a photograph unlike any other. This particular image felt heavy, its edges sealed and its surface carrying a faint, mysterious scent. Something like tobacco and glue, mingling with the unmistakable aroma of time itself. When Claire finally peeled back the wax, the scene revealed Abraham Lincoln dressed in his iconic black frock coat and top hat, standing amidst high-ranking Union officers. Nearby was an empty wooden chair and figures engaged in quiet conversation, their sabers sheathed but tangible in the moment. The photo's vividness took Claire's breath away, especially because it was in full color, a fact that defied everything she understood about photography of that era. Color photography in 1865 wasn't just rare, it was considered impossible. Yet, here was a picture alive with deep blue Union uniforms, dusty brown boots, and the textured creases of Lincoln's suit, illuminated by sunlight. The discovery flung Claire into a whirlwind of questions about authenticity and origin. Unable to contain her curiosity, she sought out Professor George Kramer, a respected Civil War photography historian. Upon seeing the photograph, his immediate silence and trembling hands underscored the gravity of the find. Kramer identified the photo stock as albumen silver print, a common 1860s material not known to hold any color. When Claire asked if it could be a fake, he quietly dismissed the idea. Experts at the New York Historical Society soon confirmed that the color wasn't painted on afterward, but embedded directly in the photograph's emulsion. These pigments, organic and dated to the 1860s, revealed a chemical process strikingly similar to early 20th century Kodachrome film, yet predating it by nearly 50 years. The photograph wasn't just a curiosity, it was a conundrum challenging established scientific and historical understanding. Despite the intense focus on the photo's unprecedented color, Claire's attention was drawn elsewhere, toward a man positioned silently between Lincoln and General Ulysses Grant. Unlike the other officers, this figure bore no rank insignia or identifying marks. His uniform plain and understated. His calm, steady expression suggested he belonged there for reasons deeper than mere ceremony. When Claire cross-referenced Civil War rosters, the man's identity was nowhere to be found, deepening the mystery. The enigmatic presence in the historical photograph raised uncomfortable questions. Why was this man excluded from every military record and archive? Could he have been a forgotten volunteer, a civilian wearing a uniform, or someone part of a secret that history wished to erase? Claire's quest to understand this figure's story sparked a path that would eventually reveal connections and legacies buried for over a century. The photograph raised a compelling question that echoed beyond its silent composition. What truths had been concealed in the shadows of history, waiting for a century to be seen again? An unexplainable presence. As Claire Donovan and Professor Kramer examined the image, the mystery of the unidentifiable man between Lincoln and Grant became the photo's haunting center. Unlike the officers decked with medals and ceremonial swords, his uniform was stripped of rank, insignia, or any official marker. His stoic presence distinguished him sharply, calm, focused, almost detached from the historical pageantry surrounding him. This anonymity puzzled historians, whose records contained no trace of him serving in any formal capacity. The man's face was strikingly familiar to Claire in a deeply personal way. She connected it to a grainy 1912 family photograph showing an older, heavier man with the same distinctive jawline and features. The realization that he was her great-great-grandfather, William Donovan, transformed the enigma into a family legacy. Yet Donovan was officially listed as missing in action months before this photograph was taken, adding contradiction and intrigue to the narrative. After a rush of research, Claire discovered Donovan's service record as a medic with the 104th New York Infantry, last seen on April 6, 1865, only days before Confederate General Robert E. Lee's surrender on April 9th. That he appeared in a photograph dated after this disappearance raised profound questions. Was he truly missing, or had history overlooked something more complex? This paradox hinted at a purposeful erasure rather than an accidental loss. The absence of Donovan from official rosters and the late presence in an iconic war photograph suggested a shadowy chapter of Civil War history not documented in popular accounts. Theories arose that Donovan may have belonged to a secret or unofficial group operating under Lincoln's direct command, invisible to both military bureaucracy and historians. This covert dimension explained his lack of military rank and why he was hidden from veterans' records. Claire's investigation uncovered whispered family stories of Donovan's disappearance and the mysteries surrounding his role in the war. An old letter from Donovan explicitly warned descendants to burn the photograph if found, underscoring the danger or secrecy attached to it. This cryptic caution pointed to a legacy far beyond the typical soldier's story, one rooted in protection, silence, and sacrifice. The juxtaposition of Donovan's quiet, unmarked presence beside two of the Union's most famous generals challenged assumptions about leadership and trust during the war's final days. If Donovan was present at crucial moments, what task had Lincoln entrusted to him? His function seemed neither public nor celebrated, but deeply significant in a shadow operation. This realization repositioned Donovan not as a forgotten casualty, but as a guardian of secrets, carrying weighty responsibilities hidden from public history. His story illuminated the unseen layers beneath official narratives, those involving covert missions and protective details reserved for a select few. Donovan's life became a symbol of the war's concealed truths. Rather than fading into mere legend, Donovan's hidden role became a key that would unlock surprising truths about the photograph's origins and purpose. Scientific analysis of the photograph. The astonishing color in the photograph baffled experts from the moment it was first examined. Most Civil War images were black and white, created through wet plate collodion processes that could not capture color. Yet this photo displayed vibrant hues, deep blue Union uniforms, the dusty brown of boots, and subtle shades in Lincoln's suit that looked like a modern picture disguised in antiquity. To verify its authenticity, Claire Donovan and Professor Kramer commissioned extensive forensic analysis at the New York Historical Society. High-resolution imaging and spectral scanning revealed that the colors were not applied afterward, as in hand tinting, but were embedded within the image's very chemical emulsion. The pigments identified included organic dyes like beetroot and indigo, alongside unusual oil-reactive compounds. These organic pigments were carefully bound in a way that ensured their preservation under precise conditions, demonstrating a sophistication far beyond known photographic technology of the era. Experts compared the materials to albumin silverprint paper typical of the 1860s, which was not engineered to hold or bind chromogenic dyes. Yet this photograph defied those technical limits. The forensic team's conclusion was that the image represented an experimental hybrid process, a photographic prototype combining early photochemistry and color dyes decades ahead of their recognized invention timeline. To put it in context, Kodachrome, the first widely available color film, would not appear until nearly 50 years later. This photograph's technology not only rewrote timelines, but challenged long-standing principles about early photography's capabilities. The discovery shook historians and scientists alike, forcing them to reconsider the narrative of photographic development and techniques in wartime. Further historical research uncovered a 1866 journal entry by Timothy O'Sullivan, a renowned Civil War photographer. It referenced a secret presidential request for a unique chromatic photographic plate intended as a legacy image, with no public demonstration. Such a request implied Lincoln's personal involvement in commissioning a private color photograph, intended to endure beyond the war's immediate aftermath. This insight deepened the photograph's significance. It was not battlefield propaganda, nor a common military archive, but a carefully engineered time capsule, a document designed to communicate not only appearances, but hidden messages and preserved secrets across generations. The painstaking craftsmanship and secrecy surrounding its creation suggested a deliberate effort to memorialize something far weightier than mere faces or uniforms. Scientifically, the photograph stands as a pioneering anomaly, merging historical artistry with an advanced chemical process lost over time. It invites reflection on what other technologies or experiments might have existed in the shadows, overshadowed by mainstream history. The image represents a crossroads where science, art, and secret history converge. This marriage of hidden technology and hidden identity would soon reveal new depths about Lincoln's inner circle and the shadowy measures taken in the Civil War's final days. Uncovering the Shadow Post. The further Claire Donovan and Professor Kramer delved into the archives, the outlines of a secret world began to emerge, one deliberately obscured from public view. Among rarely accessed War Department records dated April 1865 was a cryptic memo stating that William Donovan had been moved to Shadow Post per Owl's request, not to be logged. The owl referenced here was almost certainly Abraham Lincoln himself, speaking through a private nickname used by close aides. This simple line suggested that Donovan's disappearance was not an accident, but a carefully orchestrated reassignment far outside normal channels. What followed, drawn from deeper investigation, was the unveiling of an informal, covert unit operating under Lincoln's direct authority, a Presidential Escort Committee. The men in this group worked without ranks, badges, or records, tasked with protection, surveillance, and silent reporting directly to the president. This shadow force existed beyond traditional military hierarchy, embodying a trust and secrecy essential in the twilight days of the war. They served as Lincoln's personal eyes and ears in a time when political alliances were fragile and threats were mounting. The secret nature of this team explained why Donovan was missing from official military rosters and why his presence in the photograph had puzzled historians. He had been removed from his role in the 104th New York Infantry and placed in a position where his identity was meant to vanish from all formal traces. This shadow post was a deliberate erasure, shielding sensitive operations and personnel from scrutiny. Donovan's role, though invisible in the records, was vital in safeguarding pivotal moments and people. Curiously, the term Presidential Escort Committee, or PEC, was only mentioned in brief, coded diaries and cryptic notes by Lincoln's closest aides, with no official recognition or documentation. But Donovan's uniform bore a faint, nearly hidden patch with these exact initials, tying him irrefutably to the covert unit. The discovery of this patch stunned the forensic team, confirming that Donovan was far more than a medic or missing soldier. He was a trusted guardian, operating in the shadows under presidential command. Lincoln's paranoia about trusted allies and potential enemies had grown as the war neared its end. He understood that peace would be far more challenging than conflict. The fragile political environment demanded a network of loyal, discreet individuals capable of ensuring his safety and intelligence gathering. Donovan and his fellow ghosts stood at critical junctures, prepared to intervene if danger arose, yet purposely kept invisible to most of the government and military establishment. The startling photograph itself symbolizes this precarious trust. The empty wooden chair placed conspicuously near Lincoln was no casual backdrop. It marked a space filled with uncertainty and guarded readiness. It hinted at a tension on the edge of history, where every moment could pivot to danger. The shadows implied in that chair held space for invisible protectors like Donovan, ready but unseen. The concealed messages stitched into Donovan's uniform would soon paint a darker, more chilling picture of the price paid for silence and secrecy. The hidden message. Meticulously analyzing Donovan's uniform under spectral scanners, forensic expert Elsa uncovered more than just the faint PEC insignia on his lapel. Beneath the patch, hidden in nearly imperceptible thread, was a cryptic stitched message, "Target verified. Stand until April 14th. The chilling precision of this message froze the research team in stunned silence. April 14th, 1865, was the night President Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater, a date etched into American history as a turning point in tragedy. This hidden note implied that Donovan was not only aware of a direct threat, but had been assigned surveillance duties until the very night of Lincoln's death. The language suggested a formal, specific mission rather than routine patrol, marking him as an operative positioned close enough to observe or intervene in events of historic magnitude. Such knowledge carried immense weight and suggested Donovan's role extended beyond simple protection. He was perhaps a final line of defense or witness to the unfolding plot. The realization that Donovan vanished from all official records just days before the end of the war took on new gravity. His disappearance was less a casualty of battle and more a deliberate removal from the public eye and historical record. Claire's memories of Donovan's own letter warning his family to burn the photograph now made tragic sense. The photo was never intended for broad viewing. It was a dangerous document revealing truths some had worked hard to suppress. Experts considered the possibility that Donovan had been silenced, removed, or thwarted in some way before he could act on the knowledge he carried. The painstaking erasure of his name from military archives suggested a cover-up designed to wipe away inconvenient witnesses. Whether due to political intrigue or hidden agendas, Donovan became a ghost not only in records but in memory, bearing secrets that threatened powerful interests. Despite this, the mysterious chair in the photograph remained symbolically significant, a marker not simply of absence but of potential intervention. Donovan's presence beside Lincoln and Grant was a quiet testament to the risks carried by those assigned to silent vigilance. No grand heroism or public fanfare, just the heavy burden of standing watch at history's most fragile moment. The message stitched into Donovan's uniform whispered a warning across time, one few have heard and fewer understood. It challenges us to reconsider the narratives we accept about loyalty, sacrifice, and the hidden layers of historical truth. His faded thread implores us to look closer, to question what remains concealed beneath the surface of documented history. This coded warning, embedded in fabric and photograph alike, reveals more than a mission. It exposes the tenuous nature of security and the high stakes of power in wartime America. It echoes a reminder that those who stand watch often do so in silence, carrying burdens invisible to the world yet essential to its survival. It's a legacy woven not only in war's violence, but in silent duties and forgotten shadows. Legacy and secrets revealed. The decades following William Donovan's mysterious disappearance were marked by silence and secrecy within his own family. The photograph that revealed his hidden presence alongside Abraham Lincoln was guarded fiercely, passed down with strict instructions never to share or display it publicly. Claire Donovan inherited this burden, understanding that the image was not just a family heirloom, but a dangerous piece of history. It wasn't simply about uncovering the past, it was about protecting a secret that had been deliberately buried for more than a century. Despite offers from networks, collectors, and institutions eager to claim the photograph, Claire refused to sell or commodify the fragile artifact. To her, this was more than a picture. It was a solemn promise passed through generations, holding the truth of a forgotten soldier and a covert chapter of American history. Her decision to partner with the New York Historical Society led to the creation of a carefully curated exhibit titled "The Man Who Stood." The centerpiece was a full-size replica of the photograph, backlit and encased in glass, drawing visitors into a silent dialogue with history. The exhibit was designed not to glorify war or even focus on Lincoln alone, but to shed light on Donovan's quiet sacrifice. Alongside the image stood a biography panel reconstructed from letters, military records, and the encrypted messages hidden in Donovan's uniform. This revealed a timeline that traced his service, sudden reassignment, and eventual official erasure from history. The exhibit invited visitors to consider the lives of those who watch unheard, whose vigilance rarely receives recognition, yet carries grave responsibility. One of the most powerful features of the exhibit was the empty wooden chair from the photograph, recreated as a powerful symbol of absence and potential. It represented the weight of unseen protectors who stood ready but invisible, reminding onlookers that some figures in history operate in silence. Above the display hung a quote from Lincoln's letter to Donovan: "Some men fight with swords, others with silence." This sentiment crystallized the essence of Donovan's legacy, a man whose strength wasn't in battle cries, but in steadfast watchfulness. Visitors, from students to veterans, casual observers to history buffs, found themselves drawn to Donovan's story in profound and unexpected ways. Many lingered, reading and rereading his letter, quietly reflecting on the unsung sacrifices behind familiar historical events. Claire witnessed firsthand how a single forgotten story could reignite curiosity, empathy, and a deeper understanding of the human cost hidden beneath grand narratives. The exhibit transformed Donovan's obscured past into a beacon of remembrance and respect. The revelation of Donovan's covert role, the astonishing technological achievements in the photograph, and the chilling warning stitched onto his uniform challenge conventional history. They compel us to rethink how history is recorded, remembered, and sometimes deliberately concealed. Donovan's story reveals the fragile line between heroism and obscurity, showing that some of history's most important actors operate in the shadows, their names and actions erased for reasons lost to time. This remarkable photo and the untold story of William Donovan remind us that history holds more mysteries than we realize, truths hidden in shadows, yet waiting to be uncovered. The past isn't always what it seems, and sometimes silence speaks louder than words. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe for more unexpected journeys into history's forgotten corners. Thanks for watching.